What's going on, Muscle Monsters? Align Gonzalez here, and welcome to another Q&A video. If you haven't gotten your questions answered in one of these videos and you want to do so, make sure to follow me on Instagram at Muscle Monsters. And when I post a picture with a caption stating that it's time for questions, you leave your question there and I'll answer it here. So without further ado, let's jump right in. First question. What is your opinion on branched chain amino acids? Recently, I was told by someone to try them for muscle recovery and other reasons. I don't take any supplements and usually shy away from them except for protein. Thank you. All right, if you're consuming enough protein, particularly from various different sources, then chances are you're not going to have to supplement with BCAAs. Now, if you're someone who's been dieting for a prolonged period of time and kind of just want that safety net, then branched chain amino acid supplementation might be a good way to kind of just have that peace of mind in terms of maintaining your muscle mass during a phase where you're more susceptible to losing muscle tissue. All right, next question. Do you smoke weed or prefer not to while trying to make gains or lose weight? I don't. I'm not big on smoking weed, just like I'm not big on drinking alcohol, but it doesn't have anything to do with health or fitness or even morals, to be quite honest with you. It's just personally not something that I enjoy, so I just don't do it. Next question. What can you do if you feel tired while eating and especially after eating big? All right, the reason you're feeling tired is because you have these huge meals. They spike insulin, which causes tryptophan to move to the brain where it's metabolized into serotonin and melatonin, and so you just get tired, lazy, lethargic, whatever. And so the only thing you can really do if you want to ensure that you're hitting your macros is reduce the serving sizes. Have smaller meals. You're going to find that you're not going to be as tired after you eat. And that's really the only way to avoid that sensation of feeling lazy, tired, or even knocking out after a huge meal. Next question. Hi, Align. What do you do for your traps? They look pretty good. All right, so I don't do anything special for my traps, and to be quite honest with you, my traps aren't anything spectacular. But just to answer your question, my traps really started growing when I was deadlifting pretty frequently. Then I stopped deadlifting because I moved gyms and I started rack pulling. But on top of the rack pulling, I do a lot of shrugs with the trap bar. I do a lot of just regular shrugs. And then a lot of the time at the end of my workout, after I've done my regular lateral raises for my mid delts, I'll do some heavier ones and involve the traps a little bit more that way. That's just something that I personally do. The way that my program is set up, I can get into that in another video, but in terms of the exercises that I perform for my traps, that's pretty much it, along with obviously all of my back training, which whenever you're retracting the scapula is going to involve the traps a great deal. So that's pretty much it for what I do for traps. How can I use periodization on push-pull legs 6 times per week? Simple. This is what I did, and I saw great results with it. The problem is that I was training too frequently for my personal wants and needs, and so I changed my routine entirely. But if that's something you're doing, what I would do is go light, medium, medium, heavy. So light legs, medium push, medium pull, heavy legs, and then just repeat that cycle of light, medium, medium, heavy. And that's how I would recommend periodizing or managing your volume rather on a legs push pull. That way you got your light days where you are going more so for that metabolic fatigue to increase the lactate threshold, then your basic hypertrophy range, and obviously your strength days. Next question. What are you doing for your shoulders? They're pretty impressive. I'm not doing anything special for my shoulders. I don't do any front delt work other than what I'm already doing for my pressing and pushing, so overhead press, bench press, incline dumbbell press, things of that nature. For my rear delts, I'll do face pulls on occasion, and then obviously all of my pulling work. And then what I'm really doing for the most part is just killing the shit out of my mid delts. So I'll train my mid delts, I don't know, pretty much every day I'm in the gym. If it's not a day where I'm supposed to train shoulders, I'll throw them in at the end. But just because I think it's important to really stimulate those mid delts, they don't get hit as much directly as the other two heads of the shoulder. I like to throw them in at the end of each workout or in the middle, depending on what day it is. Next question. I'm about to start DUP training. Can I do OHP instead of bench press? Absolutely, 100%. There's no problem with that. Next question. I've been really exhausted due to long nights of studying and I feel the drainage in the gym. Should I take pre-workout or should better sleep help? You could try for better sleep, but if you need some kind of a stimulant to ensure that you're performing at your peak in the gym, then I don't see why you shouldn't. All right. Now, here's the thing. You don't want to do it every time you go train, because now what's going to happen is that you're going to notice that unless you take it, you won't be able to perform at your peak. And so what I would do is only take it when you actually need it. So if you're having a regular day where you're not tired or whatever, then don't take it. But if it's one of those days where you're just fucking exhausted and you can hardly move and you're not motivated to go or whatever the case, then go ahead and take it. And again, just don't get into the habit. Next question. Dumbbell bench press versus barbell bench press. Which one is better to get a big chest? Beginner lifter here. Honestly, whichever one you prefer is going to be better. I'm a huge advocate of the bench press just because of all the benefits. Now, that's not to say that you won't get similar benefits from doing it with dumbbells. Personally, I prefer the barbell bench press. But again, if your main goal is just hypertrophy, you're not going to be powerlifting, things of that nature, then it really doesn't matter. What I would recommend is just pick one and stick to that. How do you keep your face clean? I assume exercising regularly does affect your skin. All right, that's an odd question for me because I have horrible skin. I've always battled acne ever since I was a teen and still into my 30s. I still do. And so the one thing that I can tell you though is that the main thing with keeping your face clean is not really about washing it. It's more about what you're putting into your body, not on top of your body per se, right? So eat more vegetables, drink a shit ton of water. Those two things right there will change the game for you. Another thing that really helps me is avoiding dairy. Whenever I consume dairy, I break out. And this might not be the case for everyone, but if you're finding it that when you consume cheese or milk, things of that nature, that you break out, just avoid them completely. And then again, try to aim for like a gallon of water per day and make sure to consume, 3 to 6, depending on how many calories you're consuming, servings of vegetables every day. And I'm sure fruits won't hurt either. Last question. At what point are you an intermediate lifter? All right, so it's not that one day you're a beginner and then the next you are an intermediate because you've passed 12 weeks or 24 weeks or a year or whatever the case. It's more of a continuum, right? And so it's not just a smooth transition. You're still in that, there you could be in a novice intermediate stage where now you have to start managing volume, but you can still do your full body training, things of that nature. So it's not one day you are a beginner and then once you reach this amount of training you're suddenly an intermediate. Again, it's just a continuum and it's not really something that you should worry about. What I would recommend is just paying attention to your progress in the gym. And say, for example, when you're a beginner, you're putting on, 10 pounds each week, for a given lift, and then suddenly it turns to 5. And then suddenly it turns to 5 a month instead of 5 a week. And then suddenly it turns to, no progress at all. That's what you want to pay attention to, right? Pay attention to, number one, how much size you've put on. Obviously, how long you've been lifting. Chances are, if you've been lifting for 3 to 6 months, you're still a novice. You're not quite an intermediate. And then number two, pay attention to what that specific training is doing for you. At some point, when you have to start managing volume and intensity to get stronger, that's when you're probably going to be an intermediate. But I wouldn't worry about whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. What I would worry about is what kind of training am I doing, and what kind of training or what kind of adjustments can I make to my training to get me stronger and thus get me bigger. So that's pretty much it, guys. Just a quick Q&A. If you want your questions answered, go to Instagram @Muscle Monsters, follow me, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.